Hey, here we are. All right, we made it today. Okay, yeah, it's been quite the day, believe it or not. Wow, a few weird things. Well, not weird. I wouldn't say weird, but y'all know how it goes, right? There's like life, how the enemy tries to do stuff. However, now one of the things that occurred that was legit. I had to go and get some paperwork, give it to the office and all that. So it's all good. But yeah, let's give it a few minutes for those notifications to go out. We're going to talk about this again because it is so important, and I'm going to share with you all. Now, I know some of you who are members of our Patreon channel on the paid side, you're going to hear about this as part of the story time, but I want to bring it here because it's really true about the empathy switch. Okay, and it's a real world thing, and we experience it a lot when I go out and about and I am, getting groceries or whatever it is that I got to do. Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's so true. They don't know how to act when they can't get an emotional read on you. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they start shape shifting and they just start acting. They just don't know how to act. They're weird. If you're walking by them on the sidewalk and they can't get an emotional read on you, they like stop. It's like they freeze and then they turn around. And that happened to me this morning on my walk. That happened to me. I'm going to share it here too because it just goes right along with it. And it's part of what God put on my side. I had a whole different topic picked out for today's live. But after that happened this morning, and then, on my cool down laps around here, God revealed to me, said, with your empathy switch off, your autonomic nervous system is better protected. And I said, you know what? That's funny, but that's true. Because we know in this spiritual battle for the mind that is what the enemy is after, trying to manipulate the autonomic nervous system. That's right. That's all part of the radio frequency poisoning for traumatization. And so, as usual, let's go ahead and do our checks. And, it takes anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, I've noticed, for people to get the notification. So I appreciate y'all's patience, but we're going to talk about it. There we go. Because it's really important to understand that, when you have your empathy switch on full blast, that is what these narcissists are looking for. They are sniffing that out. And how do they sniff that out? Spiritual energy transfer. So, right, they can sense if we're annoyed, right? How do you think they can do that? They can sense if they're irritating us. How do you think they can do that? Well, it's through our empathy being on full blast. So basically what happened was we were wearing our heart on our sleeves, right? Having that empathy switch wide open, just feeling sorry for anybody and everybody, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we let them tug at our heartstring all the time. And so we learned that, we're going to, no, there's no exception. Once you turn that empathy switch off and you learn how to manage it and keep it in the neutral, no, you won't be able to. You have to manage it. That's it. Make an exception for children. When you learn how to manage your empathy, you won't need an exception for that. You'll automatically know what to do because you'll be able to multitask, but you'll have your empathy in the neutral position for the children. Like when I do car video, my empathy switch is in the neutral position. My empathy switch stays in the neutral position here as well, right inside the department. I had to learn that. Because if we don't continue to manage it, then you're going to feel overwhelmed by everybody else's stuff again. And you don't want to do that to yourself. It is. You're switching off a dozen noisy TVs and radios that were on all at the same time. Exactly. That's another important reason for controlling your empathy, is because we realize that all that chaos and drama and stuff with our empathy switch on full blast, that was contributing to a lot of it right there. So thank you for sharing that point. And yeah, it's going to be between us and God, however that happens. So yeah, I know I did not get to the formal informity, if you will, as far as who I am and whatnot. So let me put this up for those who are new to the channel so they can see who I am, Michelle Dickey. All right, yes. And not only that, I'm your host for the Let's Just Chat show on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. This is where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And yeah, I understand that there's a lot of people who are going to, well, y'all know, just are, they nosy. They nosy. They're nosy. So they're always going to check in. Oh yeah, they're going to check in on us, chosen one, all the time to see what we're doing and what we're talking about. But it's important to get control of your empathy, because as the Lord revealed to me on my walk, that it helps to protect your autonomic nervous system. Now, your ANS. Remember, I learned during my trauma training that it is the ANS, okay, that is our fear responder, because it's our threat detector. So it will respond according to how the amygdala interpret a perceived threat. So if you're traumatized, if your ANS gets traumatized, it's going to make a disconnect between your amygdala and the ANS. When they lose the proper communication, then the amygdala, whichever side the perceived threat coming from, is going to misinterpret it as a threat when it's not a threat. So as part of trauma healing, your ANS and your amygdala, both of them, okay, back here, they're going to have to reconnect and reestablish proper communication. Now, how does that happen? Well, detoxing for one, and then also healing. Okay, seriously. And this is not for the faint at heart, because when that happens, yeah, you got to overcome those trauma triggers. You got to get to know your inner child, because that's your ANS. Once you do that, then you understand why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. And you'll notice when the ANS is responding to something that it's perceiving as a threat, you know it's not, but the amygdala, if they're not connected, will misinterpret it as a threat, and your ANS will respond accordingly, and your circulation will be interrupted. So that's just a synopsis right there. But it is. And so in order to better protect the ANS, your empathy switch needs to be off when you're out and about, because we have to test the spirit by the spirit first. We are not to feel sorry for anyone until we test that spirit by the spirit. Okay? And when I say feel sorry, I don't mean literally feel sorry for them, but to have compassion. Right? We have compassion, a certain amount on them, because we realize a lot of them don't even know that they're being traumatized on a daily basis. A lot of them don't even know they're demonically possessed. A lot of them don't know that on the societal level of the world stage that the many matrices inside the matrix are just dishing out all of that abuse on a daily basis. A lot of them don't even know that. They don't realize that they are being traumatized routinely on a daily basis. Oh my gosh. Yeah, minute after minute, hour after hour. A lot of them don't realize it. So we have a little bit of compassion that way. However, we don't let them know it, and we don't show it. We gray rock out there in public. And I mean, I'm not saying don't smile. If someone smiles, you smile, and you're smiling at them, and then they don't smile back. See, here's another reason why you got to have control of your empathy. Because we used to, remember, we would smile at someone, right? Before all of this came down and God awakened us, and we got control of ourselves, got control of our empathy, that when we would smile at someone, because chosen one was just naturally like, hey, just a little friendly smile, because that can brighten someone's day. You never know, right? It's true. And so we'll smile at someone and they'll act like they didn't see us. And that used to make us feel bad, didn't it? Yeah, because that spiritual energy transfer. See, our empathy is the spiritual energy conduit. And that is how all the negative crap got into our subconscious. I mean, throughout our lives, right? They would dish out all of their negative stuff. And as they're doing that, and we're like, wait a minute, we didn't take the time to really analyze, hold on, because we didn't know that that was not coming from within us yet. So we automatically go, wait a minute, I was fine earlier. So now why am I feeling X, Y, Z? You see how they trick us into doing that, right? Because as soon as you say, how is it that I am feeling? See, as soon as you say I am, boom, right? The power of I am. So it tricks us into thinking that we're actually feeling whatever it is, that anxiety, gosh almighty, depression, anything, right? Try to get us to think that we're experiencing it when 5 minutes before we were fine. See, now we've got the time to stop and think, hold on a second. Because our empathy switch is off. And we're like, hold on a second. And we know that that's not coming from the Godhead on the inside. So it's like, okay, we know God is none of those things. So it's like, all right, knowing that, then if we sense anxiety, depression, loneliness, anything that's negative, we stop and go, hold up, where's that coming from? Because it ain't coming from within us. We already did our daily self-check-in, right? Oh, yeah. We already did our daily self-check-in. We know we're good. And then we start to venture out. For example, like today, this is what happens. The important, it can't be stressed enough. Okay, why empathy control is important. Because I'm out on my walk. And I'm going one way. As I said, some of you who are, those of you on the Patreon side of things, you're gonna hear this again as part of a story time. But just know there's some additional stuff though that goes with that I'm not gonna talk about here. So anyway, all right, just know that I'm just bringing this here because it fits with the empathy switch. I have it off. So I went on the sidewalk and I'm going this way. And there was a young gentleman coming this way talking on the phone. Well, as soon as he passed me, because mind you, the sidewalk, it's large enough for two people and whatever, to pass. Right, just like you have a two-way street. Okay. So they're going this way. And as soon as they got up to where I'm at, because they're always searching for an emotional read on other people. Narcissists are always searching for an emotional read. Like, they don't have any empathy, but it's like their demon spirits are active all the time. Their demon spirits are looking for emotion, right? They want to feed on some, they're trying to sniff out who got their empathy switch on and off. Who can they get an emotional read on, right? So they can lash out or start making fun of, or that human host can start lashing out, making fun of based on whatever emotional read they could get. And then also because if they can get an emotional read, it gives them like the green light on how to act around you, around us. Well, when we have our empathy switch off, that dude, as soon as he got here, I saw right out of my peripheral, and he got, oh my God, stood still, just like stop. Stiff as a board on the phone, right? I didn't hear him say anything, but I kept walking. I was like, okay, here we go. He could not get an emotional read on me. And so, I heard some mumbling, incoherent speech behind me. So of course I glanced over my shoulder, and he had circled around as if he was going to try and follow me. But he didn't make it a few steps before I checked again, and he was turned back around. He was trying, but he couldn't get nothing. And I knew exactly what he was trying to do. And so in my mind, as he was doing that, I was like, how'd that work out for you? Yeah, he didn't know how to act. So I'm curious, like whoever it was he was talking to on the other end of that line when he went mumbling incoherently, I'd be interested to know what their reaction was, since I don't feed on reactions, but it would be interesting to know, don't you think? Because all of a sudden he stopped, stiff as a board, and then, yeah, I kid you not. So anyhow, but yeah, whoever he was talking to, I'd be like, I wonder what they were thinking. I don't care what people think, but that would have been interesting. I'm like, what was that? Exactly. So, and so that's why it's important, because you'll catch those things. That's the point right there, is that before we would turn off our empathy switch, we didn't usually catch those things. At least not easily anyway. And so now that we can catch them, we can see what they're up to. And it helps us keep that sucker off, and it protects our ANS, because if they have been able to get an emotional read and start lashing out anything, the ANS would have responded. And there you go, interrupted your circulation once again. So, yes, you got to keep that empathy switch in the neutral. Okay? You have to say that. Even children can be carrying. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's another great point. You've got to remember that, because demonic possession can occur in childhood and all the way up to age 25. Now, it can occur after age 25, but I'd like to say that if you are a chosen one past age 25, no, not going to happen to chosen one. If you're a true blue chosen one, not going to happen, even after 25, okay? But for a non-chosen one, yeah, it can still happen. And that's right. Children can be an unwitting vessel for a demon spirit. Absolutely. And it's a sad thing, but it's true. Let me tell y'all that when I was delivering pizzas, I saw that. There was a father and daughter that she couldn't have been more than, I don't know, 5, maybe 6. Well, she could have been 7. I mean, she's very articulate for her age, but very Miss Priss and very much in charge of that household. And the dad, when he collected the pizza, their demeanor told me all I needed to know. Oh yeah, you can guess what I'm talking about. And I was like, wow. But she was possessed. Demonically possessed. And he was too. So, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So let me go ahead and get caught up on y'all comments, and we're going to keep going because we covered a big part of it right there. Yeah, about the ANS being protected better when our empathy switch is off. And so, true. If you're a person that needs external validation, all right, then you want strangers to like you and be warm and friendly, you're laying yourself open to bring God, right? That gives them the opportunity. If you've got your empathy switch wide open, it gives their demon spirit, right, an opening to control that human host, to dish out being mean, nasty, ignore you, like pretend they didn't see you when you smile at them and all that kind of stuff. So definitely, all right. So if they can get an emotional read on you, then that just gives them, their demon spirit an opening, basically permission to have their human host dish out all that abuse. And if your empathy switch is open, then you're going to sense it. You're going to feel it. And it's not pleasant. So that's that right there. And so I want to touch on the next point as to why empathy control is so important. Okay? Because you got to think about internal and external stimuli. This ties into what we've been talking about as far as when you are doing the daily self-check-in, you're okay. You're feeling fine, right? No reason for you to be anxious, depressed, or anything negative. You all good because you know that God had on the inside of you is none of those negative things. So, right, once you realize that and you know the difference between internal and external stimuli, well, here's the thing, because it makes sense. If your empathy switch is on full blast, and we know that it starts as external stimuli. Okay, remember that. It starts as external because this is how it affects the ANS. Because it had to get on the internal. It had to be turned into internal stimuli first. Okay, this is how it affects the ANS in a negative way. By tricking you into saying, no, why am I feeling XYZ? I am. That's what turns it into internal stimuli. Only when you turn it into internal stimuli, it's going to affect your autonomic nervous system, the ANS. Think about it. Because with your empathy switch off, you can sense the anxiety. You know it's not coming from you. God will show you where it's coming from if he needs you to know. And then you'll be like, oh. And you don't get tricked into saying it, and it doesn't affect your ANS at that point. Huge difference. It remains external. Okay? So, right, it remains external stimuli. And the reason I say that is because you sensed it, right? That's stimuli. Anytime you sense something spiritually, your spiritual energy, that's also stimuli. Okay? So, that's external stimulation. You noticed it, okay? Or stimuli for short. You noticed it. Oh, wait a second. That doesn't belong to me. And your ANS is fine. But if your empathy switch is on full blast, and you sense that, and you start asking yourself, now why am I feeling XYZ? Now it's become internal stimuli, and now your ANS is going to go, uh-oh. So, yeah, I want you to remember that. Okay, it's very important. That's a really great description right there as to how it gets turned into internal stimuli, because it's internal stimuli that can affect the ANS. You see, it's like the devil knows that too. And so, yeah, it is raining outside. Okay, that's if you're hearing anything, that's what it is. I'm used to now the difference between, the pranksters versus when it's actually raining. It's raining. Because when I went on my walk, it was getting ready to. But it didn't while I was on my walk. Glory be to God. And so it's raining now. And, that's about normal for this location on a daily basis well, I wouldn't say daily basis, but quite frequently this time of year. Well, yeah, because we're approaching the fall. What do we know about the fall? The devil targets everybody's health, wants everybody to be sick and pain and suffering, right? So you've got to block the sun as much as possible to keep people from getting natural vitamin D. But guess what? Chosen ones, we're smart. We get around that resistance, don't we? Yeah, not necessarily with supplements, but maybe occasionally, because I even have some up there if we need it. But if those portobello mushrooms look like they might be going bad, or, well, if we notice they're going bad in the store, we don't buy them. But if they look all right, we get them home and we inspect them, and we're like, okay, they're good right now, but there's a couple of them that got some moisture. It's like, all right, let's rinse them suckers off and get them cooked up right then. Cook them up. Once you got them cooked, then you good. And yes, sometimes the rain does fall that hard. That's some hard rain right there. But anyway, back to the empathy, you all. Seriously. We're the ones that turn it into internal stimuli. If we say, I am, why am I? Because even though we're not saying, I am feeling, why am I? It's the same. Why am I? Because you're insinuating and you're signaling to the ANS that I am. Because the ANS doesn't know the difference. Anything that has the word am, I am or am I, it means the same thing to the ANS. Okay? The autonomic nervous system is going to respond to the am I or I am either way. The it. Okay? Well, yeah, the sound of rain can be very relaxing. Thank you. It sure can. So, in this spiritual battle for the mind, you really want to get a hold of your empathy and make sure that you've got control of it and that you don't let anybody else get control of it. Because if they do, then yeah, your poor ANS is gonna, yeah, it's not gonna like it, and then in turn you're not going to, because it's gonna bother your nervous systems. It's gonna bother you. It's gonna keep you tense. It's gonna keep you feeling down and out, right? Yeah, keep that in mind. So, like, you feel it and you'll care, but we don't. Well, you shouldn't care. That's the thing. Depending. Now, if it's a negative, then we're just gonna have to pray for them. That's it. That's their negative problem. That's their problem, not ours. That negative stuff belongs to them, not us. So we learn to accept that. We learn to realize that anytime we sense negative external stimuli, we know it's not coming from within us, because it doesn't. That's not from God. Well, yeah, it is the spiritual conduit for love. Yeah, you can say that. It is, because love is spiritual. Love it. Okay, yeah, accurate description for empathy. Yeah, it is the spiritual conduit for. Well, I misread that, but yeah, but it is. Think of it. It's the spiritual conduit for the negative stuff and for the positive, like love, joy, happiness. So when you have your empathy under control and mainly in a neutral position, then you will be able to experience better peace, calm, the love, okay, all the good things, all the positive things. And you will still experience those with the empathy switch all the way off when you're out and about, sure, because that's how you protect all of that stuff from God. Protecting everything holy from God that's on the inside. Because remember, what did Jesus say in Matthew chapter 6, verse 7? Or no, chapter 7, verse 6. Excuse me, I got it backwards. Because I wrote it down backwards. Hello. It happened. All right. But yeah, what does Jesus say? He said, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearl before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. And think about it. We would give them our empathy. We give them our compassion. And what did they turn around and do? Mock us for it. Make fun of us for it. That's what he means by trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Nothing good comes out of it when we give a narcissist our empathy and compassion like that. Because that's exactly what they do. Because they don't have it. They're jealous that they don't have it. And so they're going to mock us for it, make fun of us. We didn't realize that that's what they were doing either. And how do they mock us and make fun of us? For giving them? Right, they just try to embellish their woe me story just a little bit more. And when we start to pay closer attention, many of us, we think back, we're like, oh, that's what that sneaky little look was in their eyes when we were trying to offer them compassion and empathy, and they were doing the little hee behind our back kind of stuff. Oh yeah, we don't ignore that stuff anymore, y'all. No, not at all. So, right, someone may be very empathic and feeling other people's energy, but not realize they are an empath. That was us. That was us chosen one at one time. Yeah, we didn't realize that's what we were doing. Yeah, we didn't even realize that that's what was happening. When we had our empathy switch on full blast, we had no idea that we were feeling that we had no idea that that's what we were doing. It's that they were projecting their negative energy. We were internalizing them, turning them into internal stimuli, because the empathy is the spiritual energy conduit. So boom, and then we got tricked into thinking that we're the ones feeling that way. And so then after Why am I feeling that way? Or, yeah. And then, well, sometimes you will get tricked into going, dang, all of a sudden I am feeling, yeah, remember the word am. I am. Either way. Am I or I am. Either way. Very powerful. Very powerful. So, well, and that's the thing. We hope that our fellow chosen empath, find us and join us in this growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ, because that's what it's all about. You got a voice here now. You got a voice here. And we always have stuff coming for you all. And you listen, it's important because, think about this. Another reason why it's so important to get control of your empathy, so they can't take advantage of us anymore. Think about that. It's because we gave them our empathy and compassion that they could take advantage of us. Because nothing is ever enough for them. We know that, because we're also told, right? Never forget in God's word that the wicked are never satisfied. So there's nothing ever enough for them. That's in Proverbs. And, yeah. Let me find it for you. Because it says that hell and destruction are never full, and the eyes of man are never satisfied. And I'm trying the exact one, but I think it's, here we go. I think it's Proverbs 27. Yep, 27:20. Thank you. That's what I was thinking about. Make sure I don't want to lead y'all in the wrong direction there. But yeah, Proverbs 27, verse 20. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. Nothing's ever enough for them. So when we gave them our empathy and compassion, they would take advantage of that because that was not enough. But that's also another way they were mocking us. That's also another way they were mocking us. And then they would try to see how much more they could get out of us. And then how much more. And each time we would give in and keep giving and giving and giving and giving. Until we had nothing left to give. Till we were completely drained. That is what they like to see. Is to drain us of everything. Of our spiritual energy, because our empathy switch was on. It's the only way they can do it. Think about that. Well, aside from talking to them. But if our switch is off, we see that they're a narcissist. We're not going to allow ourselves to get into a long, drawn-out conversation with them, are we? Not anymore. We let them keep talking. And here's what I do. If I run into somebody and they want to do that, I'll stand there for a couple minutes, let them talk. And if they don't have any questions, they'll be like, all right, cool, dude. Have a nice day. And I'll walk off. I don't get involved in it. And whatever it is they said, I don't care. Because I saw they were a narcissist. Coming up to me, a complete stranger, and wanting to just start talking about whatever randomly out of the blue. Why? Why do you do that? Because you're a narcissist looking for attention. That's why they do that. So, well, yeah, it's pretty obvious. I mean, really? Normal people don't do that. We might smile and say hello in passing. If they say, how are you? Doing well. How about you? Doing well. All right. Have a nice day. That's fine. That's one thing. But another important reason why you want to have your empathy switch off. And see, that would be a part of why they do that, because they're a narcissist, but they just want to come up and just start blah, 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 with you, who they don't even know, just randomly coming up talking to you. They're trying to read emotion. And so them acting that way, again, because if they can't get an emotional read on us, yeah, it can kind of trigger them to do the stupid stuff that they do. Although they don't really need any help with that. But that's really it right there. It's like one of the other biggest reasons why it's so important to have control of your empathy. so they don't take advantage of you, so they cannot get an emotional read on you. And that right there, they will show you who they are real fast. And we no longer ignore it. Take those blinders off, and we put the God blinders on, meaning we see what's up. I mean, I talked about earlier the dude walking by and just like stopped, stiff as a board, like boop. And I'm like, no, okay, wow. And then mumbling incoherently behind me. Like I said, the person on the other end of the phone, it would be interesting to know what their reaction to that was. Because I remember the general manager's reaction at the toxic pizza place that I worked at, delivering pizzas, as I was taking one that I was finished with and going around to the oven. She was right at the end, and the big over bully narcissist that got himself fired one night was sitting there making pizza, and I heard it. He was mumbling incoherently. He was having a narcissistic collapse. And I remember walking by to put the pizza in the oven, and she was looking at the screen, and the look on her face, she was like, what was that? And so I was like, yeah, she noticed it too. But I knew what it was. And yeah, because it's kind of like surreal when you experience that and you witness it, whether you see it or hear it or whatever. I mean, it is. So having our empathy switch off allows us to catch these weird things when they do stuff like that and when they shape shift and all of that stuff. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. It's very important, not only because Jesus teaches us not to cast pearls before swine, but also because nothing's ever enough for them. They're going to want more of it until we're so completely drained we have none left to give, which is what they want. They really want to see if they can turn our hearts dark like theirs. But here's the beautiful part. Chosen one. Even though they might have been able to drain us of the empathy and spiritual energy at that particular time before we knew that that's what they were doing, as soon as we're away from them because of the Godhead on the inside and our empathy, even though it's a little drained, and we're like, wow, and we're numb, like we just don't feel nothing for nobody at that particular moment, right? It re-energizes. See, they know that about us too. And so the very next day, they can see that we've got it back. We've got our spiritual energy back. We've got our empathy back. And then here we go again, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Here we go again, round and round and round and round. They just want to come and completely drain us. Okay? Yeah, that is their agenda. All right, you all? Seriously. Or part of it. I have a playlist on this channel all about the agenda of narcissists for a reason. Yeah, and I know I've got a funky eyelash going on here. Imagine that. Yeah, well, it happens sometimes. So, yeah, I just want y'all to keep that in mind. And if you've got any question at all about how to handle that, I need you to ask God. Because as I've shared before, He showed me how these narcissists mirror our empathy through our eyes at that last toxic workplace that I was at. Because the dude, I was like, huh? I said, this ain't right. I said, the timing is all wrong. And not only that, this is very high schoolish. I said, why? Wait, I don't have a crush on no one. What's going on? Because that's what it felt like. Because he was mirroring my empathy through my eye. So as soon as God revealed that, because I asked God, I was like, what is going on? I said, this ain't right. This don't feel right. And he, showed me through the eyes. And so as soon as I realized it was through the eyes, I turned and I worked that out, and boom, it was a mental activity to turn that sucker off. once I knew that that's what he was doing. And I'm going to tell you, when I turned around and looked at him, there was no more empathy to be gotten. And he had the deer in the headlight looks. That tells us that he knew exactly what he was trying to do. So, very important reason right there. Because if you don't have control of your empathy, you can be easily tricked into thinking that you have a crush on someone that you do not, because they're doing that. And it will feel very high schoolish. And that's kind of what the red flag was for me. I said, wait a minute. Not only that, I'm like, I'm focused on Jesus. I'm married to Jesus. I was like, I'm focused on my education, getting my life together, figuring out what the heck I'm supposed to be doing, becoming aware of all of this, you know? And I said, yeah, that timing's all wrong. And I just knew it. I was like, this ain't there. It's on God's time. If I'm supposed to be with somebody, I'm going to let God take care of that. I made that decision even before learning more about narcissism all around us and stuff like that. I said, it's in God's hands now. I should have left it in his hands all this time, but you know what? You got to learn some lessons first. But yeah, it was crazy. But ask God. That is how we do it. However we learn to turn our empathy switch off, God will show us. Okay, God's the only one who can do that. So, yeah, the butterflies and the tummy feeling, yeah, that's a warning bell. That's a red flag. That is not, you ain't crushing on nobody, but yes, question about need. Okay, grow stronger. Okay. No, the demon spirits, okay. I don't know if you've come across videos where I have broke it down in this way, but let me go ahead and let you know. The reason the demon spirit come in packages is because by themselves, like if you have, if you think about the demon of, let's think of a little embarrassment. Oftentimes, it's going to have the demon of insecurity with it. And then it's often going to have with that, I'm trying to think of a low level, insecurity, embarrassment, and then maybe the demon of worry, because those three really are, they're all low level. But together, they're a little bit more like in between low and medium level. So they're like mid-medium together. Okay? That's why they don't, yeah, you're not going to find just one on a person or one trying to get on up. It's going to be more than one. This is why it feels so overwhelming once we are awakened to the fact that we're dealing with the narcissist and we have to get rid of those narc fleas. That's plural for a reason, because there's more than one still like lingering, trying to get in. It could be those three right there: the demon of worry, the demon of insecurity, and the demon of embarrassment. So, right, they're not going to be strong by themselves, and they don't exist without a human host. Got to remember that too. Well, yeah, and jealousy can have anger and aggression with it. Exactly. Jealousy can also have hate and hate and another negative one with it. But oftentimes, anger and jealousy are found together most often. So, and then with hate also. Because not all human hosts of the demon spirit are necessarily aggressive, even though all narcissists are passive aggressive in how they speak and try to do, you know what I'm saying? But as far as being physically aggressive, not all of them are. I will tell you, and not all Jezebels are either, believe it or not. I've got plenty of Jezebel case studies to back that up. You do have the Jezebels who are physically abusive and those that are not. And a lot of times, the ones who are not physically abusive to their target are actually physically abusive to themselves. Let that sink in. And just remember, a Jezebel has every single demon spirit there is. All of the negative emotion, spiritual energies, emotion. 1/3 of the fallen angel. The Jezebel has all of them. It's just they're not all going to be in operation at the same time. That's impossible, because then it would be extremely obvious that they ain't right. Think about that for a moment. That's why they have to mirror their target. And that's why, especially for a Jezebel, whatever demon spirit is in operation, it's going to depend on many things. Who are they trying to impress? Who are they trying to trauma bond? Who are they trying to, you know what I'm saying? All kinds of things. Because if every single demon spirit were in operation at the same time on them, trust me, they would be, you would know, you would see it like, boom. And it, yeah. Okay, just like the shape-shifting, when you see that, you don't unsee it. So, and that's usually a Jezebel who will do that. From what I'm understanding and the shape-shifting that I've been seeing, every single one of them has been a Jezebel, but with the exception of one that I don't know if he was or not. But I did see him shape-shift. I wasn't around that one long enough to determine a Jezebel or not. And then, well, okay, the embarrassment with insecurity and worry, fear of rejection also, that could be a slight fear. Could be there. You got to remember the demon of fear is going to be one of the first demon spirits that's going to get attached to these human hosts. And then along with it, whatever else that human host may be struggling with themselves, jealousy, what have you. Okay. And so the demon spirits don't get stronger by the negative emotion of the human host. No. They have plenty of their own amongst each other. The fact that they don't exist without a human host lets you know that they're not as strong as they want you to think they are, period. Because after we think about all their attempts at trying to keep us down, think about the Jezebel case study that I closed, okay, there in 2023. The things that she did to me, oh, I know, she was trying to see if she could lower my self-esteem again or make me feel insecure about myself because of some things that have occurred in my physique due to that physical assault. No, she's an idiot, because the self-esteem and the confidence that I have comes from the Godhead. And not only that, comes from knowing that, hey, guess what? I don't have high pride in myself like that, because we are not supposed to. And we know that things are temporary. This too shall pass. And that everything's going to work out. Bruises heal. We just got to be patient. So as far as her thinking that she was going to try to take away or steal my healthy level of self-confidence, well, you can see how that worked. It didn't. In fact, it just got healthier. And then, so, I mean, I'm just giving you all this because I know that's what she was trying to do by putting bruises plugged in certain places of my body to, yeah, y'all can know where I'm going with that. Try to make me feel insecure about myself because my physique might not be what it was before that happened. However, yeah, it is. It's just what's going on due to the plugging is external, and it's all about appearances, because I can feel on the inside that we still there. Like, duh. Devil's all about appearances. It's just a matter of us, healing. Really, that's it. So we're still walking. We're still, getting back into exercising and all that. So it's like, what? Taking care of ourselves. We got to take care of this temple for the Holy Spirit, but not out of high pride, but because we know it's a healthy way of living. We know that it keeps, we know it keeps us in check. And that, for proper nutrition, so we can keep going and we can keep creating this content for you all. Get up here and serve for the kingdom. Yeah, and for the glory of God, always first and foremost. And you're welcome. Okay, a group working in tandem. There you go. That's how you can look at the demon spirit. Is that as they, yeah, because they group up. So someone could have a narcissist could have. Yeah, it's only going to be a narcissist. It's got them, but could have 3 to 5. And a part timer. But a Jezebel is going to have all of them. And again, whichever one is in. Yeah, again, a Jezebel having all of them. And whichever one's in operation just really depends on who they're around, who they're trying to impress, who they want to trauma bond, their audience. Yeah, a number of things. So it's just, yeah. And there are a lot of different types of fears. So if a person is like the narcissist living in fear, they're going to have multiple different fears. Fear of abandonment. Yeah. Fear of abandonment and fear of losing something or someone. So, yeah, the evil spirit don't exist without a human host, right? And it means that you can't get the evil spirit into a vessel of some kind, like a battle. No. The demon spirits are not like I Dream of Genie, okay? You're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. No, and I don't know. I know those don't exist, but it's just a good example. But no, you're not going to capture one of those and get them in like a urn of some kind, okay? Or a container. You're just not, no. That's a good one. Thanks, Chris. So, okay, you heard that a ventriloquist dummy was originally used to house the demon spirit to attract it away from the human host. Okay. Demon spirit cannot attach to inanimate object. No, they internalize. They have to be internalized. A ventriloquist dummy cannot internalize a demon spirit. Wow. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I had to think for a minute how I could respond to that. But yeah, no, demon spirit don't attach themselves to inanimate objects. They can't. They want to be in control of something that's animated, right? And otherwise they don't exist. They got to have control of the thoughts of a human host and even an animal. Don't forget that. Okay? That an animal can be demon possessed too. Remember, animals have thoughts of their own. So, when the demon spirit gets on a human host, that's when they are given a life, if you will. But trying to attach to an inanimate object that relies on a human to actually make it, okay. Anywho, right. Right. Okay. So, like the demon wants to be a human, so it will attach to the wooden dummy as having a body of its own, sort of thing. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. I had never heard that until now, and that's really intriguing. That's really intriguing. We are now at the and more part for anybody who is tuning in towards the end to learn more about the importance of controlling your empathy. You will want to catch this on the replay because we cover a lot of great why behind that. Okay, and yeah, it's so important to understand. And so we will get to the and more part. We're talking about the demon spirit and kind of like, okay, a wooden dummy, a ventriloquist dummy, was originally used to try and house demon spirits. That's not going to happen. Right. And I get, because the demon wants to be a human. Okay, Pinocchio. Oh, wow. Okay. But I understand what I guess, okay, maybe some wishful thinking there, but okay. Wow. That's a very interesting piece of history there about demon spirit, or what they once thought. I did not know that about those wooden dummies. I actually had one when I was a kid. Yeah, his name was Lowell. Was I very good at it? No. I sucked at it. I tried and could not get the hang of it. And I said, you know what? Not part of my calling. I don't know what we did with them either. I really don't. But I remember we got them for one of those, the Christmas holiday. Got it as a gift. And it was so cool as a kid. I was like, yeah, this is so cool. No, it wasn't. I mean, it was and everything. I mean, I tried. Yeah, not my thing. Okay, so the wooden dummy used in old Europe to cure some people of demon in the mistaken belief it would go into the dummy. Well, there you go. A mistaken belief. There you go. But that tells me that they really didn't understand that it was only Jesus. Well, they have to, well, the person that is possessed has to want to be delivered, and that it's only those with the Jesus spirit who can actually do it and talk the demon out of the human host. And pray that there's no other narcissist around that can take it up or suck it in, for that matter. Very different as a gift for a kid, I know, right? But it was cool at the time. But so, yeah, I mean, since you brought that up, I was like, I may as well share. Had one, sucked at it, not part of my calling. Learning how to talk without moving your mouth, I'm going to tell y'all, that's talent right there. That is talent. And that's just not mine. No, not mine. I mean, I can probably mumble some things under my breath, but that's about as far as it goes. I'm going to move my lips. So anyhow, yeah, thank you. So there's a certain TikTok creator has a video saying the name of Jesus is a deep. Oh, I think I came across the same one. And that, I was like, oh, but you got to remember how we've been studying the book of John, right? In our Saturday Bible study. And what did the Jews accuse Jesus then, even? Of being the devil, of having a devil, meaning demon spirit. So they were even calling Jesus a demon. So no surprise that we have people today calling Jesus a demon spirit. It's no surprise. It's no different. Just let that sink in, because, yeah, he says that Ephesus also means a demon spirit. Clearly, this person is clueless. He deceived big time. And is trying to deceive others. So watch out. Yeah, you know not to fall for that. I'm not going to fall for that. But thank you for sharing. But I have seen the one where there is some out over there claiming that Jesus is a demon spirit. And no, he's not. He's not. He is our Savior. Well, apparently he does not fact check his videos. No, he's just putting out what he thinks is true. And that's what makes him look like an idiot. Remember, God says in Romans chapter 1, They're going to profess themselves to be wise, but they are fools. So there you are, everybody. That wraps up today's Let's Just Chat. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out, and I will get to those as soon as I see them. Whether you leave them in the comments on the replay or send me an email, I will get to them. And yeah, I highly encourage anybody who hasn't yet, check those links out in the description below to learn more about this ministry and work and what we do here at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Yeah, for trauma healing and spiritual growth while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. All part of that trauma healing too, because radio frequency poisoning is also part of the traumatization. So it's important to understand that. And the reason why we need to detox from it as well. So, again, any question, don't hesitate to reach out. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.